It's Friday Coffee with your mortgage man, Eric. Great topic today. Topic for the day is know before you Zillow. And hold on before you get disenfranchised or pissed off about the topic. Tune in. You may learn something you didn't know. First part of this is going to be for my agents and mortgage industry professionals, and then we'll dive into how this affects consumers in the latter part of this. So, in case you didn't know, the CFPB, the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, who was governed or directed by Richard Cordroy, who's no longer in there, but when Richard Cordroy was the director, there was an ongoing investigation, lawsuit against the CFPB, or from the CFPB, against Zillow for RESPA compliance issues. And the whole thing behind it was they could not confirm or definitively spell out that it was RESPA compliant. RESPA compliant saying, okay, you as a realtor, real estate agent, and you as a lender agree to split evenly 50-50 down the middle on the marketing advertising cost for Zillow. And Zillow didn't allow you to do it. Of course, they said that they did, and they provided the tools and the resources and documentation, but if anybody has ever dived into it, you know there's some gray areas in how they charge and they bill, and some of the things that get left out, such as real estate agents, having $20,000 a month, $12,000 a month in bills, and bringing in 2, 3, 4 different lenders to cover those costs. So there was a long investigation. There were actually mortgage companies and real estate companies that had been fined by the CFPB as a result of this. So when this actually before the lawsuit happened, the attorneys for the lending companies, a lot of lenders out there said, hey, look, we advise you, if you are a lender, to not engage in Zillow marketing because, look, the CFPB, huge headhunter on levying fines to the real estate and mostly the mortgage industry for breathing wrong. And it's, look, you don't want to engage in this because of that fact if you want to keep your doors open. So I'd say the vast majority of lending institutions said, look, you can market, you can co-brand, but we're not going to allow you to dive into Zillow. Not now. They need to clean this up. So since then, Mulvaney replaced Cordroy, and since then, that investigation and lawsuit has been dropped. Now, it's one of the things, look, I'm grateful that Cordroy is gone and Mulvaney's in, but there's an issue here with Zillow, and it gets deeper. Keep tuned in, keep following me here. If you know, as agents, Zillow's created their own real estate company now. So what does that mean? They're taking market share from you. So you should be concerned about that because Zillow is a giant. And do you think they're going to get smaller or they're going to get bigger, right? I mean, do you think they're going to continue to keep getting bigger and keep growing, or do you think they're going to regress? They're not going to regress. So you need to be concerned about that. And then let's take this into consideration. Zillow gets about 193 million hits a month. 193 million hits a month. A little over 98% of those hits come from Zillow, people typing in Zillow.com, right? Things like that. Only 0.57% of the hits is coming from the Zillow Premier Agent. That's where a real estate agent pays through the nose to be a Premier Agent in Zillow. Now look, there are some agents out there that will testify that they're knocking it out of the park. Most of them you'll see that are in high-cost areas, and or they're spending a grip load of money. I mean, grip load, $30,000, $40,000 a month in marketing and being a Zillow Premier Agent. All that you are doing is feeding the beast. You are helping them become bigger. So, very controversial topic. I get it. Use an agent. If you rely on Zillow getting your leads, you're probably pissed off at me right now. You may have already turned this video off. But if you follow me through this, you can see that you could be slicing your own wrist in a career sense of way here. So now what Zillow has done is they've opened up their own mortgage company. So what we've already seen things on their websites is leading them to their own mortgage company. Click on here for an amortization schedule, how much you'll repay over the life of your loan, right? Things like that. So you as a lender, you're dumping money into them. You are feeding the beast as well. So I think the majority of agents and lenders that I talk to, they get it, they understand it, they don't like Zillow at all. They don't like what it's doing. It's watering down the industry, right? And look, if we're honest about this here, we know what happens when these big companies, these big giants get into the game. Open Door, what happens? The level of service is train wrecked. And our consumers, they don't understand that out of the gate. They're kind of attracted to the big, the big shiny thing over there. And they don't realize that, man, that train is coming off the track. You have no idea. That's a nightmare. We don't want you to use that lender. We don't want you to use that real estate company, Open Door, right, Homey, things like that, because it's a train wreck. Communicating with them is a nightmare alone. And we're lucky if we're going to get this thing across the finish line. So that comes the consumer education piece of this. But that's where we're headed. That Zillow seemed to be this nice little marketing tool. Oh, we're gonna market through there. $1,000, $2,000 a month. I'll split it with my lender, and we're gonna get leads, and we're gonna close them. But now what this has turned into is Zillow took the steering wheel. They have their own mortgage company. They got their own real estate company. So, and what we do? Oh, we're just going to continue to keep feeding the beast. And they're just going to keep getting bigger. What happens? They take your market share. Yes, you may be complacent about it. Yes, you may be a little ethnocentric about it. You don't care. Apathetic? You don't care because you're making such and such this year. But if you are failing to see beyond your nose and into the future, 2 years, 5 years, 7 years, 8 years, you might be working yourself out of a career. So you should be concerned. Now, let's hop into the consumer-based end of this, because I know this drives agents bananas. It drives mortgage lenders bananas, is that when we find consumers out there that want to do nothing but get on Zillow and look for homes. Look, I get it. It's a baseline. It's a place to start. Maybe a half year, a year before you're really even ready. You're just going to get a general consensus of what things are going for, right? But anytime you pick up traction and you're serious about it, you need to become associated with a realtor who will give you an MLS portal search for properties that are actually on the market and not under contract. I mean, holy moly, right? I mean, this is like beating a dead horse, but how do we get this message across to consumers like Zillow gets their message across to the consumers? Zillow is very effective in their marketing, aren't they? Why aren't we? Why isn't NAR? Why isn't the MBA just as effective? But we have consumers that keep going to Zillow even when they're hooked up with an agent, and they ask the agent, well, what about this property over at 124 Miller Street? And, because it's only, it says $179,000. And you find that property sold 3 months ago. So you can see the issues that we have with Zillow, especially on the consumer end. All the education we've got to do is like, look, stay off those sites, Trulia, Active Rain, Realtor.com, Zillow. They're a baseline to start way back. But when you get serious, the only person that can get you real, live, updated, current listings is a realtor through an MLS Realtor portal search. Why? Because The only thing that you find on Zillow is things that realtors are uploading at their will. So it's about 70 to 80% accurate. That's it. Depends on the market. That's about 70 to 80% accurate. And we know it all the time when we get the email or the phone call or the text that says, what about 123 Miller Street? And you're like, oh my God. Why didn't that come up in my portal search? My real estate agent, they're not looking out for my best interest. What they don't want me, they want me to buy more of a home, a more expensive home. No. Miller Street sold 3 months ago. But, and then it takes you 2 agents to realize that. You already fired 2 agents. You're on your 3rd agent, and you finally have the epiphany. Oh, I need to use the MLS. The only way to use the MLS is through a real estate agent. Kick Zillow to the curb when it comes time for the rubber to meet the road, right? That's what I'm saying. So look, I almost forgot to drink my coffee through this video. My goodness. You got to know before you Zillow. What are we doing to our industry? Why are we allowing Zillow to get bigger and bigger? Do we not think that they're going to continue to take market share away from our industry? And market share being that crummy, crappy level of service. Pay the employee as less as you possibly can. Right? These open door realtors getting paid 1%, newbies, poor service, right? I mean, we get it as industry professionals. What happens when you go to the Blockbuster? When you go to the big name? You get poor service. You go to the FDIC banks. Oh, goodness gracious, right? You realtors cringe when they come with a pre-qual from Bank of America. You do, because you know you're going to go through hell. If that file even gets over the finish line, you are going to go through hell in the meantime. You know it. It's the same concept. Big brand names are terrible at lending, and we're finding that the open door of real estate is just as crappy. Another thing that happens is that they get special deals with certain title companies. And now this specific title company is inundated with business, and now the title agency is putting out a poor level of service as well. And we're seeing it. I mean, I feel like we're back in 2009 again with some of these title companies and the level of service they're putting out, because back in 2009, 10, and 11 with the REOs, right? All the REO stuff, and you had to talk to this one person that had 150 escrows on their desk at one point. Right? It was, and we're kind of getting back to that. It's like, oh my God, we got an open door contract. Oh man. Okay, is what it is, but it's not going to go smooth, and everything's going to take 2 days to get responses, etc., etc. Anyhow, with that said, know before you Zillow. It's Friday Coffee with your mortgage man, Eric. See you.